Welcome to the Value Meta. This week it's Mono White Angels. If you love life gain decks like Soul Sisters or Johnny's Pridemate, I would highly recommend this, and it slots very nicely into the green-white fully upgraded version later. So let's start with this deck. Going from the top of the deck, we have our Mythics. We have Resplendent Angel. Simply, it's a 4 free mana flying free that will basically, if we've gained 5 or more life this turn, create another 4/4 Angel. And spoiler alert, we gain a lot of life in this deck. So how do we gain life in this deck? Well, we can move down to our rares. We have Guardia, the Font of Hope, which is a 2 mana dork basically, that can cast other angel spells, but is also a semi-pump Lord for angels. So whenever an angel enters, it enters with a 1/1 counter for each other angel we control. So if she's on the battlefield, our next angel gets 1 counter and 2, and then so on and so forth, which plays very nicely into the life gain side of our deck, because the rest of our rares are Bishop of Wings. This is a cleric, so it's not an angel, but it's a 2/2 for 2 white. That whenever an angel enters, we gain 4 life, and whenever an angel dies, we get a spirit. So it's good board white protection, and it's an insane amount of life gain, which pairs very nicely with our free drop, Righteous Valkyrie. So for 2 and a white, you get a 2/4 Flying Angel with whenever an angel or a cleric enters, you gain life equal to its toughness. And if you have 7 more life than your starting life total, your creatures get +2/+2. So it's life gain into a super anthem. If this is on the battlefield and we just cast a couple of angels, we very easily chain that. So like I said, we want to gain life really well. In our uncommon slot, we're running 2 more angels as a set off. We have Youthful Valkyrie, which is a 1/3 that pumps itself every time an angel enters. And Starfield Shepherd, a new addition from Edge of Eternities. It's a 2 mana warp, 3/2, that will basically get us a plains. It's good for guaranteeing late game land drops to get higher up, but also it's good to just trigger the ETB on Bishop of Wings or Righteous Valkyrie to just gain more life. Then we have our removal, which is Portable Hull and Lay Down Arms. So Portable Hull catches a lot of the early aggression stuff that might give us problems, or non-land permanents like Beanstalks or things we want to remove. And Lay Down Arms will exile any creature provided we have equal the number of planes mana value, which is really easy in this deck because I'll show you the mana base in a bit. Finally, we have our singular common card apart from our lands, and that is the Inspiring Overseer, which is a 2/1 that will gain us a life and draw a card. Nice and basic, but we used all our rares for the Anthem effect, so this is where it has to go. Finally, we have our lands, and it's super easy. We have 24 planes, because the whole deck is white, and we need planes for the exile effect, so we're all planes. Nice and easy deck tech. Basically, we want to curve out ideally into, our perfect curve is Bishop of Wings into Righteous Valkyrie into Resplendent Angel, because then we'll gain enough life off the Resplendent Angel to trigger its ability on the end step, giving us another angel which will gain us more life, so on and so forth. But that's a deck tech. Pretty quick deck tech, but it's pretty simple. Let's move into some games and show you how this deck plays if you'd be interested. I recommend this one because it's a good starting block that can be built into the green-white angels list, which you can find online with a full deck tech, which does require a lot more rares. So let's see this game in action. Game 1 here with a budget angels deck in the value meta, and this opening 7 is really solid. We have the perfect curve I described of Bishop of Wings into Righteous Valkyrie, but we also have a Giada here, which might be the better option, honestly. Depends on what our opponent does, but this hand is also pretty resilient. So seeing black, we're going to just play this plains. Opponent is black-white, so this could be a raise. Yeah, the Deep Cavern Bat suggests that this is a Raise the Past deck. Those who don't know, where Raise the Past is trying to basically get a bunch of creatures in the graveyard and go like that. Oh, they take down the Lay Down Arms, which is interesting. So, looking at the way things are here, I decide we're going to get down the Bishop of Wings. I'm not 100% at this point committed to the idea that it is Raise the Past. It could be just Orzhov damage, so we need to just get something down that might give us an edge against an opponent using tons of removal. So yep, Forsaken Miner with Bitter Triumph, that's a really cool interaction there. So casting the Bitter Triumph triggered the crime from the Forsaken Miner. So our opponent is now gearing up. Gyada's going to block well to anything they do there. There's a Bartholomew de Precedentio. They have 2 mana left into another Forsaken Miner. Opponent moves to combat, swings in with the 2/2. They know we're not going to trade Gyada for this. So, let's keep our life total healthy here. Let's get this Righteous Valkyrie down. That will enter with an additional counter from Gyada. And now we can warp with the Starfield Shepherd. It'll enter with 2 counters because of Gyada, which will gain us 4 life from the Righteous Valkyrie, putting us above 20. So we'll get a Plains here. We are flooding pretty badly, but again, we got another Angel we can cast next turn. The Angel warps out of here. I do love the warp effect. I think it's a very cool, like graphic breaking etch there. Opponent moves to combat, attacks for 4 here. I am going to block. I'm scared of a push potentially, but also they have the Bartholomew here, so they can trigger Revolt even without that. So we take 2 here. They go down. Resplendent Angel's the big killer here. Like I said before, this is absolutely insane in this deck. So we play Resplendent Angel. It will enter, gaining us a total of 5 life. So it's already triggered its ability to gain us life. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to go to the end step. Resplendent Angel will make an Angel, which will enter with more counters from Gyada. This is like the holy trinity of this deck. If you can get these 3 Angels out uncontested, you are pretty much... well, you're pretty sorted. Opponent plays a Nesting Bot here. Passes back. We move to our turn. We draw the Youthful Valkyrie. And I decide I can pump the Angel here. So I'm going to instead I'm just going to play a Youthful Valkyrie. Honestly, I think I'm overcommitting here, but our opponent is drawn out. It's out of cards. So we'll go up to 40 life here. And we swing in here for, well, what is lethal if our opponent doesn't block the 9/9. However, I think at this point our opponent gives up, because if you'll see what will happen, we attack in, they block the smallest creature, and just let themselves die, which I suppose if they are a drain deck, us getting to 40 life is insurmountable for this. So, yep, watch this. We swing in. So they can very easily survive if... well, not easily survive. They can be very close to death but still alive if they block the 9/9 Angel. But they just let it through here. And they go down to -6, so I think they just gave up, which is very sad. Second match here now with the value meta, playing Angels. Last game we ended at 40 life. Can we do better here? Well, this hand is insane, and it's actually really good because Starfield Shepherd, if we don't draw the 3rd white source, is a way for us to guarantee we'll have that. Opponent is on Selesnya, and I see an elf, which is interesting. So now that we get the another white source here, I decide we'll go for the Youthful Valkyrie. We can play Starfield on a turn when we run out of lands, but just see if things go any better from there. There's another Fallen Lieutenant. Opponent swings in. I'm gonna block here. I don't think they have any pump for 1 mana they'd play. Right, but with that done, we now play Righteous Valkyrie. Puts a counter on our Youthful Valkyrie. A lot of Valkyries in the Angel deck, surprisingly. I'm suspecting this is some kind of Selesnya Elves deck, so I'm thinking to myself, what's our opponent going to drop here? Shalai, the Voice of Plenty. So I have no idea what our opponent is playing here. But they now have Hexproof. So I'm going to play a land here. Play the next Valkyrie, which will gain us 4 life and put another counter on the Youthful Valkyrie. As soon as we have 4 planes here, I said I'm going to get rid of Shalai. Shalai can pump their board eventually, but also I'm suspecting that it must be part of something. So I just got rid of it while we could. Also, the airspace is a premium. What I mean by that is if you have a bunch of flyers and they have a good flying blocker, it's a bit more awkward to get through. So I would probably prioritize removing the flying blockers in this matchup. There's a Conclave Tribunal. Taking the Youthful Valkyrie, which is strange to me because do they not know that the Valkyrie does crazy stuff? So yeah, we're going to block here. What we can do on this turn, because it's going to be saying, is we can warp a Starfield, get a land, and then put the Inspiring Overseer into play. Or we could do some other crazy stuff. So let's see what happens. We can grab the land, gain the life, and I decide I'm going to put the Overseer into play here. It's going to draw us a card. There's the Resplendent Angel, which, like I said before, is a 1-2 punch here. But with the current standing, we're at 37 life. And our smallest creature is 6. So any of these threats are lethal. So the only thing that saves them here is a board wipe. Straight up if they have it. But they don't, so they pass. So, cool idea. Final match here is against Mono White Control. And this is a lesson in not overcommitting. So I keep this opening hand for the early interaction, and the Valkyries can get pretty big. Resplendent Angel's a nice inclusion, but our opponent starts playing the lands. So for those of you unaware, I'm going to play Youthful Valkyrie here. Mono White Control is essentially a deck that wants to make tokens and board wipe and draw cards. So, right, seeing that's pretty major for me. So we're going to use the Lay Down Arms, exile the draw effect, play another Valkyrie here, which will pump the previous Valkyrie, and we'll hold back. See if our opponent wants to attack in. But yeah, so there's a Soul Partition to slow us down. They swing in. I'm not too bothered about that. So we're going to Starfield Shepherd, put a counter on the Youthful Valkyrie, get another land. Play land. I'm going to Portable Hole, get rid of the Sun Blessed Healer. Hit him for 2. Start getting their life total down if we can. So we now have 2 creatures in exile, which is pretty fun. So yeah, a bit awkward here with the start. There's a Get Lost to just put pressure on us. With 5 mana, I decide I'm going to replay the Youthful Valkyrie and pop the map. Like, I'm 90% sure they're holding a Wrath of God here. These decks are like, yeah, there's the Caretaker's Talent. So this is just going to be absolute insanity. So, Righteous Valkyrie, play the Resplendent Angel, gain 3 life, attack in. Fortunately, our life total is so low now that we're not going to get anywhere. So, unfortunately, they play an Overlord of the Mistmoors and draw a card. And I think to myself, well, might as well go all in. Play Giada, Font of Hope. Explore here on the Righteous Valkyrie. Draw the land. Play a land. Portable Hole. Get rid of their creature. Lay Down Arms. Get rid of their other creature. Swing in. And we are basically 1 turn away from victory here. However, our opponent has, I believe, another Overlord for the blockers. So this is a really bad matchup because their deck is basically just a ton of removal and incidental ways that just made a ton of flying tokens. And yeah, so opponent's slow rolling here being an absolute swear word. This is why we're doing this 2 speed, by the way, because of this little bit of the video here. Basically, our opponent is trying to figure out, in their defense, if they are dead if they play the Overlord here. They know we've got nothing in hand. You know, they just straight up win if they draw another land. But there, we draw, play the land. So next turn, big board wipes come in. They can make a ton of blockers. So I decide I'm going to play the Starfield Shepherd, put more counters on our creatures, draw cards, get a basic land. Get rid of one of their planes. Unfortunately, like I said, we were just 2 life too low. They lined up really effectively, and they have the Sunfall, and that's the game, so we can just concede. Good. Well, bad matchup. Okay game.